Hey, how did how'd the stuff go? I didn't watch Chance's VOD yet. Yes. That needs to go away. Um, but wait, what's going on now? Okay. But hey, what up, ABP? It sounded like Dax was in rare form last night, so that's good. Fun and nightmarish. Yeah, I know he was like super anticipating it, and then got so hammered that it sounds like he didn't even really get to really do much. So yeah. But hey, look, I'm wearing the Stitches Culinary Institute. I plan on wearing this probably one of the days of BlizzCon. So yeah. What was up with Joel? I didn't. He was in the like group chat for a little bit, wasn't he? And then disappeared. So the first thing I'm gonna do for tonight's food is I have some greens that we're gonna be cooking, but some of them have gotten kind of limp. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shock these back to life with some ice water. Just lots of cleaning. Oh, dude, my day was great. Thanks for asking. So I've got some ice here. I'm gonna put the greens in here. Let's just do all of them. Just got all these nice greens going in here. And it's just going to absorb all that cold water. We're going to do the celery too. See how the celery is kind of like meh. Oh, yeah, sorry, that was just water. Not anything to be worried about. But yeah, how was your weekend, Davey? Was it glorious? Did you get to do any yoga, soccer games, all that fun stuff? Sorry, I'm actually not that organized today. We're gonna get some rice going. I'm gonna show you how we can do some rice without a rice cooker. Dose yogas. That's rad. Now, I am a firm believer in the rice cooker, but this way also tastes better than cooking it in the rice cooker, so we're gonna do it this way. And it's still pretty easy. Yeah, I watched that whole game today. Yeah, this city was going pretty nuts for the last week or so with all the like Raiders Broncos hype. ABP, thanks again for organizing all of the stuff with Wavy yesterday. I really enjoyed being able to participate in that. Again, sorry I couldn't do more, but I've just really enjoyed being a part of his channel for the last, like, I can't believe it's only really been about 2.5 months, but really enjoyed meeting all you guys and hanging out. Okay. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to put this onion on into that pot back there, and just let it kind of become translucent. Just kind of sweat it out. Gotta go have fun? What, like right now? If so, have fun. But if not, hang out. We're just chilling. Are you guys able to hear the music? I'm playing some just off my computer. But I want to make sure it's not too loud or annoying. And that you can even hear it. Still, man, it still takes somebody to kind of spur that. And like, it was cool to see that whole reaction. Oh, for sure. No, I know it's a collective effort, but we still needed somebody to kind of wrangle us all together, so that was awesome. Alright, and then to that, I'm going to do a cup of brown rice. I'm going to give it a quick rinse. A little salt and pepper in there. His reaction was insane. That was great. No, I really enjoyed it. That was really cool how everything turned out. It was a very special moment, and I'm glad I got to be part of it. I was sad I couldn't witness it live, but I got to see it when I got home, so that was really cool. So I'm going to dump in this uncooked brown rice. And I'm just going to stir it around with no real liquid in there yet. This is a process called pearling the rice, and you're looking for it to get just a little bit opaque to kind of cook through a little bit. It's really good in this phase. And then to that, add double the liquid of how much rice you did. So I did a cup of brown rice, so I'm going to do 2 cups of water, and then just like a splash extra. And an idea, if you're going to be eating this rice kind of by itself, you can cook it in some broth or some stock to give it that extra flavor. We're going to be adding this to, I want to make sure that this command came through clean. Cool, yeah. So we're going to do it with the red beans and rice. This is the rice that we're going to use in there. So it's going to have a lot of extra stuff with it. So it's fine to kind of cook it in the water and have it be a little bit more bland. But having the seasoning in there and the onions are definitely going to be helping it. Yeah, dude, we're gonna do a homemade toaster strudel. Somebody who subbed to me, I think the time when you were in here for quite a while, he requested that, and so I'm gonna do that. I've done them before on stream, and they're a lot of fun. Real cool. And if there's anything that you would like to see, since you already sub as well, if there's any dishes that you specifically would want to see, if there's something you're curious on how to cook, or just have something you want to see done, let me know, and I will get it on stream in the next, week or two. So we're just going to let the rice kind of come up to a simmer. Once it does, we're going to cover it and put it into a 350-degree oven for about 40 minutes. Let's see, while that's going, let's see how much stuff is coming along. So remember how limp the celery was? Look at, now it's all nice and firm. Just from sitting in some nice ice water, it's soaked up. All right. Gluten-free cookies? Yeah, they're not that hard, but I mean, if there's something specific, are you gluten-free by chance, or are you just trying to eat, or curious to see some gluten-free stuff? Let's see, so next we're going to start on the soup. Just going to get our potatoes going. Oh, you have a friend who has celiac? Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I mean, it is nice that more gluten-free products are coming out. But there is, I enjoy cooking, so I want to make my own stuff. But yeah, I'd be happy to do some gluten-free. I'm trying to think, I did something gluten-free recently that was really good. I don't remember what it was. If I think of it, I'll hit you with a recipe. We're just chopping our potatoes up kind of on the smaller side because it's going to be in a soup, so we want them to be kind of like fit on a spoon easily with other ingredients. It's actually quite a lot of potatoes. It's going to be more potatoes and less greens in this, but that's all right. Making tortilla chips? You mean like physically making the tortillas, or taking tortillas and frying them to become tortilla chips? Because those are two very different things. Making your own tortilla chips out of tortillas that you already have is easy. Making your own tortillas from scratch, it's not crazy difficult. All of it. Okay. So making tortillas is somewhat of an art. I mean, I feel like a lot of things in that nature, you know, breads and whatnot. But yeah, obviously you could do it with corn, with masa, so that becomes gluten-free. I've done it a few times, and it's actually really fun, like, especially if you were able to do it with your friend who has celiac disease. That would be like a fun activity to do together. That could definitely be something that I could do on stream if I can find the right masa, which I should be able to here. Like, obviously making flour tortillas is really easy, but I assume you would want them to be gluten-free, and having that flour in them is obviously going to contain gluten. We also we made tamales one time. That shit was good. Hey man, I would do it. Both Mrs. Biscotti and myself are fans of lots of like Central American cuisine that would involve tortillas. But yeah, I actually have these really good little tortillas just from the market the other day. These are like a corn tortilla with some ancho in them. They're real good. And like you could just cut these up and fry them and make tortilla chips pretty easily. Just curious? Well, I mean, it's one of those things, probably the first couple of times you would do it, you might think it's a little difficult or not frustrating, but like just it takes some practice. But then once you get that like method down, it's then very easy. Always make sure you're washing your knife when you're working with starches. That dulls the blade very quickly. So yeah, definitely something to like keep in mind when you're working with a lot of starch. You a chef? Yes, I am a chef. Hi, OMG Pete. Glad to hear you're doing well. This cam's basically out. Oh, thank you very much for that follow. I don't think we need these extra potatoes. If you do exclamation point menu, that will tell you what we're making tonight. Yes, I'm very happy with my decision to get out of the food industry a couple of years ago. Give me a second and I will tell you why. Mugawada, thank you very much for the follow as well. All right. Oh yeah, your birth father was a food industry main. It is a very tough industry. So the main reasons that I got out of it, from a professional standpoint, I still have my side business. So culinary school, highly recommend to anybody. Such a good time. Made a lot of friends, learned a lot about food and the industry, but really it was more about just like learning how to cook and make things for yourself. It didn't really do a great job of teaching me how to cook the same thing over and over again. It was all about having, getting the learning base up of all the different styles of cuisine, all the different knife cuts, all that jazz. Once I got into the industry, surprised Kimbo's not in here to get that. Once I got into the industry, the first couple of years that I did, I really enjoyed it. But I lost a lot of my friends, not lost, but like became a little separated from some of my friends and the woman that is now my wife, because I was on a very different schedule. I was working essentially nights, weekends, holidays. So all my friends became other people from the food industry. We put the celery in. Also, the entire time that I was a professional chef, I was working in Los Angeles, where it was incredibly competitive. Is that ceramic? It's actually like an enamel-based, so it's a Le Creuset, so it's cast iron with a coating on top of it. Need a better system over here, but that'll work for now. So, as I continued to work, unfortunately, my mother got very ill. She had cancer. And I had to make a life choice of what I wanted to do. If I wanted to be there for her, because I'm an only child, my parents are divorced, or continue pursuing my culinary career, but I wouldn't be able to like take her to doctor's appointments. Looks like a black ceramic at certain angles. Yeah, so there is ceramic, like it's on the outside and on the inside, it's kind of like a ceramic enamel coating to it, and it's cast iron, as a base to it. Oh, the blade! Yes! Yes, it is a ceramic blade. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the pot. So in go our greens. We're going to deglaze it with some wine. I think she drank all the wine. Alright, no deglazing. Just liquids go in. Okay. Yes, so yes, this is a ceramic knife. I enjoy working with these as kind of like my everyday knives. I do have, so this is my traditional chef's knife. Somewhere here it is. So this is my steel traditional chef's knife. You can even see it's got the like waves of steel through it. And it's got the wooden handle. And I even have that specific knife tattooed right here, and you can even see I like tried to get the waves of the steel put into it. But ceramic is just kind of a nice everyday use. I've had that knife for the steel one. I've had that for probably over, 15, 17 years. But yeah, I really wasn't making much money as a chef in Los Angeles. There's just kind of like a race to the bottom for that. Unfortunately, it's just way too many people in that industry. Somebody's always willing to do it for less. And I decided I really wanted to take care of my mom before she passed away. So I left the industry, just got a kind of more standard job, and then pursued being a chef in my spare time, doing things like I do some cooking classes that I teach. I do a lot of volunteer work with different groups where they need culinary instructors. So that's more where I get my like professional fix. I still do, private dinners and whatnot to kind of as a side business. And if it ever really took off, I would gladly go and do that as my career. But being in somewhat of a new area, I'm kind of rebuilding my personal brand. So hopefully one day it'll get there. But I'm also very happy with my traditional, working life, because it gives me the balance I was looking for. I'm able to spend a lot of time with my wife. I have nights and weekends off. It's all the things that I wanted but didn't have. I suppose I could have reconsidered going back into the world after my mom passed away. However, I just decided to continue. I was making much better money. Threw some onions in there too. Okay. Yeah, things really did work out. I mean, I believe that things kind of happen for a reason in life. Not always planned the way you want them to, but as life kind of cycles on, things just become a little more clear. And this path that I'm on was the right thing for me to do. I've been very successful and lucky in the marketing and advertising field, and it still allowed me to have some fun cooking on the side and having my own side business. Debating how much of this hot pepper to use. I'm going to save a little bit off to the side just in case. I don't want it to be too hot for Mrs. Biscotti. All right, I think this is going to need some seasoning. So we put a lot of greens in there. What else we want to go with? Fennel. Can add some garlic at least. Yeah, I mean, I realized that having... Should she open this? I swear she opened this. Yeah. Kind of realizing that I wasn't going to be able to continue pursuing, you know, the traditional restaurant route of a chef. It's actually allowed me a lot more creative freedom. When I was working in restaurants, I was always making other chefs' food, making it a million times over, you know, and it really stifles the creativity. So having my own side business, I get to work with clients on building a menu with them, giving them advice, especially when I teach my classes. I really control that content from the start to the finish, so it's really nice for me. I enjoy that a lot more. It kind of strikes all the creativity balance I'm looking for. Plus, while it's not consistent, I really enjoy, it pays a lot better in those kind of peaks. You know, like around Christmas time, I'll get a couple of things going, and I can charge a lot more, and I get all the profits because I'm just doing it all on my own. I don't have to share with anybody, which is nice. Let's see, so I think that's everything we need to go in here for now. Now, another reason that I cut the potatoes on the smaller side... no, I have my own side business where in the area that I live, I have like my own website and whatnot, and people sign up to take cooking classes from me, or I prepare private dinners for people. So then I show up at their houses or at some location and either teach them or just kind of make a bunch of food, usually do like 4 to 5 courses and serve them. And yeah, it's definitely more financially viable for me doing that. It's a lot of fun, plus I get a lot of free food out of it too. Yeah, I do. Like, I actually enjoy doing the cooking classes more because I just really enjoy teaching and sharing my knowledge with people. But I tend to make much nicer food when I do the private dinners, because when I'm teaching a cooking class, I have to keep it more basic most of the time. Most of the people that are taking cooking classes from me are people who don't know a lot about cooking. So I'm teaching them pretty simple stuff, getting them a couple of recipes that they can kind of understand, learn, and then use in the future. Whereas when I'm cooking a private dinner, I can go all out and make some crazy stuff because I don't have to worry about teaching them how to do stuff or be worried if they're going to have the right equipment, all that kind of stuff. I can just bring all my own. Oh, I was saying with the potatoes, I cut them a little smaller too because we put all those greens in. We want to make sure that we don't overcook the greens. When greens get cooked for a really long time, they start to leach out chlorophyll, which makes it not taste as good. It's a very not good taste. So I cut up the potatoes pretty small so they would cook relatively fast. We want the soup to kind of sit together and get a lot of those flavors going together, but we don't want to overcook the products that are in it. So it's just kind of something that you have to keep an eye on. Like when I go to taste it, I'm going to be tasting the potatoes to make sure that they're all the way cooked through. Those are all great avenues to learn how to cook. Honestly, most of my clients tend to be on, my parents' age, I would say. Most younger people, they know that they can get a lot of really great knowledge on places like Twitch and YouTube and whatnot, just the internet in general. But I think, folks in their 40s to 60s aren't quite as open to learning on the internet or like trusting a video. So they like the hands-on experience. Plus, they have the money to be able to do things like that. So it's works for me right now, at least. Cool. So now we're just going to let that hang out on a simmer until the potatoes get all the way cooked through. Towards the end, I'm going to add in just like these real nice fine, like these are almost like pea shoots. Not a true like alfalfa sprout, but like somewhere in between. I realized I was also going to put the carrots in there just now. We can still do that. I'll shred them so they cook faster too. So I was going to cut up the carrots into nice little cubes, but yep, and on cue, here is Dog, because she loves carrots. I'll try and get a good view of Dog. She just had a bath today, so she's all nice and fluffy. Hey, you want carrot? What do you smell on my hands? You like the carrots? There you go. No? Okay. Well, she'll eat that at her own pace. So we're going to shred these carrots just to get them nice and small. And that way they'll cook a little faster too. But also with the carrots, like I like them to have a little crunch to them still, especially in this soup. I don't want everything to be all mushy. So it's not a bad thing that we're adding the carrots in a little late. So if you're just getting started, I think just a traditional set of, like, you need one kind of, frying pan. Hang on one second, I'll show you, like, a good starter set after I get these carrots in. But you can do a lot with just a few things. You only need a lot of stuff when you're cooking a lot of things at once. When you're learning, it's good to just have kind of a smaller set of things to work with. Cast iron is absolutely a staple of cooking. Searing, roasting. I love cast iron. I cook a lot in cast iron. Oh, I know. She's going after the puff pastry. She smells the butter on that. Butter is like her favorite food, so. Yeah, huh? Because you're chubby. Okay? So, another tip, try and clean a little bit at least as you're cooking, so that way once you're done, your kitchen's not a total disaster and then you hate life for having to clean up everything. So here's just a good old traditional skillet. It's got the non-stick coating on it, but it is, this is a Calphalon 10-inch. I would recommend like a 10 or a 12-inch skillet as kind of your go-to pan. Get something that has like steel as a handle. You want something that's safe in the oven and then potentially safe in a dishwasher. I tend to hand wash all my stuff, but if you do want to wash it in the dishwasher, just make sure you can. Things with like rubber handles and whatnot, you can't put them in the oven, and most of them you can't even put in the dishwasher. This is an 8-inch skillet, so it's a little smaller than the last one. Same family. I like this for just cooking eggs and whatnot. You can absolutely... You have no dishwasher? Well, there you go. So you're going to hand wash everything anyway. But I would make sure you're getting stuff that can go into the oven, because on the times when you're not... Yeah, exactly. You want it for the oven. Where you eat, like, can, much like you would with a cast iron with this kind of stuff, have something where you're starting to sear it in here and then finish it in the oven. Things like that. You want stuff that's oven safe. But yeah, really the 10 to 12 inches is more necessary than the 8-inch, because while it's nice for smaller things, it limits you to cooking only certain things. I would also get kind of the same with a pot. This one is, I can't even see what size it is. I would get one that's a little bit bigger than this. So to start out with, non-stick is nice. If you can afford stainless, I would get stainless. It's a much better, it'll last you a lifetime, really. I mean, I've had these for 7 years now, I think. I mean, it's a good brand, but it is the non-stick type, which, again, not the best. But let's see, what size is this one? This is a 4.5 quart. This is a good size because this will allow you to make like soups and stews and whatnot. Again, you want the steel handle so you can put it into the oven. I like this one because it even has the side handle, so you're able to kind of like pick it up when it's heavy, because when this is full of liquid and other products, like, it gets really heavy, so to have all that weight like right here, kind of a pain. But yeah, you want like one that's a decent size so you can make a decent amount of food in it. And then this is an 8-quart small stock pot. This is really good for when you're, making pasta or making those bigger soups and whatnot. This is something that I actually use quite a lot. If I did not use the pot that I'm using, this is what I would use. Now, I don't use this one too much anymore because that's a Le Creuset pot. That's pretty much my favorite kind of pot. But those would be your standard pieces. When it comes to baking, I like a loaf pan, a square pan, and like your big rectangle. So this is a 9x13. This is an 8x8, and this is a 10-inch loaf. So it's 10 inches this way and then probably about 3 inches, maybe 4 inches at the top. You're gonna be cooking for a family of 3 to 4, so yeah, 4.5 quarts about as small as I would go. The smaller pots than that would really just be used for like preparing sauces and other things that you would have in smaller quantities. Now, the last thing I would recommend, if you have the budget for it, is a wok. I love using my wok. Anytime I'm making things on the stovetop, I tend to use this. It provides a lot more surface area. It's fun to cook with. It's easy to flip things in. Really great for your stir fries and all sorts of other things where you can just cram a lot in here. And yeah. So we're actually going to use this to make the rice and beans in. Also, when using the wok, you want to... Hey, what up, Arthur? Oh, you got your main keyboard hooked up now? That's nice. So, honestly, you don't need anything fancy in a wok. Just something that's going to be sturdy is the main thing. Because it's going to get heavy, so you want something that's really... it's got good bolts connecting the handle to the wok itself. Again, this one has that extra handle, so if I want to pick it up, I can. You're gonna have some blueberry kush for dinner? There you go. I like it. I like it. Okay, so since we're almost done our soup, just gonna trim off the bottoms of those. We're gonna add in our pea shoot sprouts. So how are you doing tonight, Arthur? We're gonna start chopping up. So this is a spaghetti squash. Kind of. Okay. Just be careful. Fingers. With it. Get rid of all this insides. Just cut this in a couple of pieces, I think. So because these are kind of tough, just take your time cutting through it, because it will definitely give you some resistance. You just got home? I assume you were at work, unless there was something school-related this late. Yeah. I still can't believe how good you are with steel. Imagine if you had started playing him sooner. You'd be at platinum by now, I think. Maybe diamond, who knows. First one ended on Saturday, your first class? That's great. Mrs. Biscotti is not that lucky to be done with any classes this semester yet. Sneaky Industries plays steel. That's what I should do. I should find... So do you only play steel in jungle, or do you also play him as support sometimes? That was my other question for you on him. Because, like, when I've watched you play, I feel like you've only played jungle with him. I'm gonna check. Let's actually put it here. Cool. So our soup is done. Our rice is done. Let's see. Jungle is his home because he can sneak up and flank people. Yeah, I've seen him played as a support. Red beans and rice. Okay, so the soup. So what we did, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like now that it's essentially done. So what we did was we chopped up some potatoes. Yeah, red beans and rice typically does have pork or beef base to it. But my wife and I my wife does not eat any beef or pork. She'll eat fish, but other than that, she's basically a vegetarian. So I'm using salmon as the protein in it. You could do it with some tofu, you could do it with lots of other stuff, but it's not going to be a traditional, like, Creole style red beans and rice. It's kind of my own. We've done a traditional one and it was so good. But tonight's is going to be kind of like, it's not going to be traditional. It's going to have a bunch of vegetables in it. It's going to have some salmon, all that. Jacuzzi in there? Yeah, no, it's good. So we start off with some potatoes, chop them pretty small, put them in some oil, just a little bit of oil in the pan, heat it up hit it with the potatoes, cook the potatoes just for a couple of minutes. Then we added in some celery. You could also add in your carrot at that point, the onion, and then all of the greens. And then I just used a vegetable broth, so it's a vegetarian. See, I didn't even use any butter, so it's really vegan. Threw in some garlic, salt, pepper. I was looking for some anise, but I don't think I have any. I was going to add that to it. But that's the nice thing about it. It's a really simple soup where you just basically want to cook the potatoes enough through so when you add in the greens, they only need a few more minutes of really cooking because you don't want to beat up those greens and leach out all the chlorophyll. So yeah, then just season it properly, and it's a very simple soup. Hi. Okay, so Kimbo's now like in between my legs. So this will be interesting to, luckily we're almost done all the chopping, so do some tomatoes. So this red beans and rice is almost going to be like a stir fry that just happens to have red beans and rice in it. Hey, you want tomato? Yeah, I know, you like the tomatoes. There, okay, that got her to move. And I had some tomatoes already chopped up from yesterday. I went to a tailgate, and we still had some left over, so I'm just gonna add these in here and then use that. How do you know when the potatoes are done enough? So really it's just a matter of like a couple of minutes, especially if you chop them up relatively small. So this is how small I chopped the potatoes. So I knew they would cook relatively fast. So I let them cook maybe 3 to 5 minutes before I added in the other vegetables. Pretty simple. I would recommend using a waxy potato. So those are things like your Yukon Golds, the little baby red potatoes, the purple potatoes. They work better in this kind of soup. Russet potatoes, those like big brown ones, those are much better for like mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, those kinds of things. Yeah, hi. Here, you want more carrot? No. Now that she's had a tomato, she doesn't want the carrot. Okay, so I'm gonna get the oil going. Here, let's drain our beans actually. Now, I also do enjoy making my own beans. You know, where like you soak them overnight. I ran out of time today, so I'm just going to use some organic beans that are canned. Oh, Feely, thank you very much for that host. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Now I'm going to drain these and rinse them. Now, if you were going to do this red beans and rice more traditionally with like a pork sausage, something of that nature, I would recommend cooking the sausage first in there. That way you can use the fat that you render out from the sausage to coat your beans and rice in, and that will make it taste amazing. But because we're doing a salmon instead, I'm going to add that in more towards the end because I don't want it to overcook. Sounded like cocaine? No. We are not cooking cocaine tonight. So let's see. First, we're going to put in some of these vegetables, especially the spaghetti squash, because that's going to take a while to cook because it's like really firm to the touch. It's not like a typical zucchini or a summer squash that would be softer. Yeah, that's how they get you addicted. Yeah, man. What's your secret ingredient? Why do I always want to have food from you? Oh, it's just cocaine. So I should actually separate this a little bit. I kind of pushed it all together. Not the brightest move on my part. That's good enough. Just because I do want to get the squash in before the other stuff. Okay, so do that, do that. I was going to do some snap peas too, but I'm not sure if we even need it. Yeah, that's kind of why they're called spaghetti squash, is like they make really good noodles. It's a really good gluten-free kind of pasta almost that you could make from it. So we'll let that cook down for a little bit. Then we'll add in the rice, the beans. I can get my salmon prepped as well. So usually I had this other small cutting board that I was going to do the salmon on. You want to keep your proteins and non-proteins separate. So like if you're working with raw sausage, things like that, you want to make sure you're not cross-contaminating it with your vegetables. Because I'm going to cut up the salmon, I can use this portion of the cutting board and just make sure I don't get it near the eggplant, but it's all going to cook together anyway. So it's not that big of a deal for where I am in the cooking process. But if I was earlier in the cooking process, like if I still had to make the soup, if I still had to do other things on the cutting board, I would want a separate cutting board for this. Always taste your food before serving it to guests. Okay, now that our rice is set for a couple of minutes, I'm going to go ahead and fluff it with a fork. I like to use a plastic utensil for this. I don't like the metal scraping against the inside of the pot. Okay, we can add in a bunch of our other vegetables. Okay. Going to cut our salmon up to little squares. Make sure you're getting all the way through the skin. Just try not to, beat up the fish where you're going to pull it apart. So that way you're getting these nice squares of salmon. This actually has a couple of bones in it still. I'm just going to remove that whole center piece. Cool. So we've got our nice pieces of salmon there. Pan skills? Yeah. When I was a chef, one of the jobs I had was working on the saute line. So I would have like 10 to 15 pans. Yeah, just hit the fish with a little salt and pepper. Okay, so I'm going to move my fish over to the other side of the kitchen. So we can begin working on our toaster strudels. Yeah, dude, salmon's the bomb. I love salmon. It's my favorite fish. So, we have some puff pastry that we've defrosted and thawed. Just gonna wash my hands again. Okay. So if I was cooking it as a whole fillet, yes, I would definitely do So what I would do is actually do skin side up first, sear the top, flip it, sear the bottom, skin side against the pan, and then put it into the oven to finish it. So that way the longer cooking time is on the skin side to get it really nice and crispy. Because this is being done more like a stir fry way, I can't control that quite as much. So I'm just gonna let it cook all together. Yeah, it is. Now I need to do something really quick. We're gonna go ahead and add our beans in. You got an Amazon wish list? No, I do not. I mean, I have one, but it's like my own little wish list. I'm gonna make a little egg wash for this puppy. Bowl. I like a little bit of milk also in my egg wash, just a splash. Poke is awesome. Poke bowls are like a shit. They're really good. Okay, got our egg wash. Of course, I get some on my computer. Now with that, you also see me adding in things in pieces. The reason I'm doing that is if I were to add everything at once, it would lower the temperature of the pan too much, and then it would all have to come up together later. So by doing it this way, I'm also controlling like certain things take longer to cook. Like, for example, the squash takes longer to cook than, oh, Jay comes in as I'm talking about squash, his favorite ingredient, than like the tomatoes, for example. So now, can you see this well? Let's make sure this is in frame. I'm gonna get a little brush. I also added in some of the rice to our red beans and rice. So now you don't have to use a brush for this part, but I find it's a little bit easier. And what we're going to do is essentially use the egg wash to help the edges stick together and help create an actual seal on the puff pastry. All right. Now we're just going to use a nice jam that I bought today. This is a organic cherry morello jam. And a little bit goes a long way with this. You just finished eating dinner, Jay? Ooh, Cajun chicken soup. You love Cajun chicken soup. I feel like a lot of times I talk to you, you've just had some sort of like chicken and rice with peppers and shit. Okay. That should be good. Now we take these guys and fold them up. Slide it. Yeah, this way will be better. Okay. In goes the fish. Come on. Okay. Now I'm just going to take a fork and flute the edges of this to seal it. Plus it makes it look nice. Oop. And if you see it getting a little sticky, you can throw some flour on it. And that'll help your fork not stick. Rotate this one, make sure it doesn't stick. There we go. Now I'm just going to finish it with a little egg wash on top so it gets all nice and golden. Oh shit, Swaggerino in the house. Thank you so much. Holy crap, sorry, I was like very focused looking at my fluting work on these homemade toaster strudels that we got going on. So you can see we got some homemade cherry toaster strudel action that's about to hit the oven right now. Okay, this goes in. But yeah, thank you so much for the host and the raid and the waves and the love. I hope you had an awesome rest of your stream. I am streaming later than usual on a Sunday, but today just kind of got away from me. So the last thing we're going to do for that is we're going to make a little glaze. Correct. So I've got we've got the soupy soup over here. This is a potato and green soup with some carrots and celery and all sorts of good stuff. We've got our red beans and rice with some salmon and some spaghetti squash and some eggplant in here and some tomatoes. So that's cooking away. I need to grab some powdered sugar. I'll be right back. You ruined the red beans with the squash. Shut up, Jay. You don't know. So we're going to make a glaze for the top of those toaster strudels. I'm going to make it kind of have a lime flavor to it because lime and cherry is a really good combination. Yeah, I mean, it's really not a traditional red beans and rice at all. It just happens to have both red beans and rice in it, but it is not like... it's not like a proper red beans and rice. We have done that before on stream, and it was awesome, but this one is kind of a healthier spin on it. So let's see, do I have... Let's see, we'll use this so you guys can see what's going on it. Replace squash with andouille. Yeah. Well, that's what we did the first time we did have andouille sausage as the base. We used andouille, red beans, rice, and onions, and that was it. Really simple, pretty traditional. We also used more of like a wild rice, not a brown rice. This is like more of the hipster version, you could say. But it's also the version that Mrs. Biscotti will eat. So we've got our lime juice, putting in a healthy amount of powdered sugar to start with, and we're gonna make a nice glaze out of this. We're just gonna whisk this up. Now don't overdo it with the powdered sugar at first. You wanna make sure you mix it all completely, and this will help to prevent some clumping. You don't want the powdered sugar to get clumped up. You want it to be a nice smooth consistency. So you gotta do it in a couple of stages really. But it's pretty crazy how much powdered sugar it takes to really start to thicken this up into more of like a slurry almost. Ooh, yeah. Are you from Louisiana originally, or have you visited there? It's a question to our new friend, Jay, I know. More about you. Jay, when are you going to start streaming them gun streams? Yeah, see now it's starting to thicken up a little bit. Can you see that? Yeah. How it's starting to ribbon. Oh, you got family down there? Awesome. Thick. Yeah, we want it thick with a couple of C's. There we go. This is looking like the glaze that you would kind of have coming out of the packet, you know, that you would get in a toaster strudel, and that's what I'm looking for. Hi. Oh, Swags, you want to hang out with Dog for a second? Let's see if we have something she'll like to eat. Hey, you want carrot? Yeah. No? Oh, thank you. Let's see if there's something else that she'll want. She wants butter, which I don't want to give her any butter right now. That's unnecessary. I can give her a little tiny piece of salmon, maybe. There we go. Yep, here, you want the salmon? The salmon's good, yeah, you want the salmon. She just had a bath today, so she's extra nice and fluffy. Here, you wanna let the... Yes, thank you. Give her a pet? Yeah, that was kind of cruel, I guess, huh? Although, I mean, she got what she wanted. She wanted a treat. She doesn't care about love for me. Hi. Here, I give you love now, okay? Hi. Yes. Yeah, see, she doesn't even care. Sure thing. I will put salmon stir fry, or I'll tag it. Usually what I do is I upload them onto my YouTube, which I haven't done in a while. I've gotten out of practice. And sorry, I fell behind on chat a little bit. Yeah, all my YouTube ones are like from when I used to stream a long time ago, and then I took a long break, and I've started getting back into it recently. Probably about 3 months ago or so, I would say I started streaming again. I try and stream every Sunday, where I'm making like, you know, this is all food for my wife and I to have for the week. Yeah, I need to like get better at the streaming thing again, where like at least I'm streaming, but now I need to like update all my links. I need to get my Discord in here and all that info. Is this my day job? No, it is not my day job anymore. I was a professional chef for many years in Los Angeles, but I left the industry. I have a side business where I still do private dinners and I do cooking classes, but it is not my main source of income anymore. It was for quite a few years, though. No, I use Ankbot because I didn't want to have to pay for it. None of my links work anymore because I was using Delirious's bot, but I didn't feel like paying for a bot anymore since I only stream like once a week. So I will fix all of these things that I forget how to do because I am not a pro streamer. I am I honestly don't even know. Try both. See what happens. I know AdCom does Nightbot, and Nightbot's in here, so I'm fine with that. See, that works. I don't mind if Nightbot's the one that has that, and then I can shift it over to Ankbot once I learn how to use it better, because I'm but a pleb. Hang on. I want to add a little smokiness to this, so I'm going to throw in some paprika. Oh Lord, falling behind. It is smoky paprika. It is smoked. Is this gonna be? Yeah, that's gonna hold up well. I like that. That's solid. So I don't need this anymore. Try and keep my kitchen somewhat clean so it's not a shit show after I'm done. Yeah, I'm still very much just learning the capabilities of TankBot. So that was just our extra rice I was putting away. Well, welcome to the stream, Jaded. Gotta love it. But thank you for coming by. I feel like you always come by when I'm towards the end of my streams, but I'm always welcome to have you for those last few minutes. Oh, and thank you for that host as well. Yeah, all the friends are in here tonight. Apparently I need to stream later on Sundays. When I stream earlier on Sundays, I know a lot of you guys are still streaming, so I don't get to hang out while I do the cooks. Okay, so here is our soup, which this has the potato, bunch of greens, carrots, onions, celery, all sorts of good healthy things. There is Dog playing with some styrofoam bowls that she found. Hey, Kimbo. Don't do that, please. Yeah, those aren't yours. So there's Dog. Here is our toaster strudels. We are going to put that glaze that we made on them, but I'm going to do that like right before I eat them, so I'm not actually going to do it on stream. But essentially all I'm going to do is take a spoon and run it across, kind of like in a zigzag pattern. And that makes our cherry lime toaster strudel. And then here is our red beans and rice that has the salmon and a bunch of other stuff. So it's not a traditional red beans and rice, but hey, can you not do that? She's angry, Dog. Yeah. So yeah, red beans and rice. It has the salmon and spaghetti squash and tomatoes and eggplant. So again, not a traditional red beans and rice, but it just happens to have red beans and rice in it. But yeah, and this was our glaze that we had made. That'll just go right on top of those toaster strudels as we eat them. Gingino, what is up, my friend? How are you? I'm actually going to throw these into the oven for just a couple more minutes so they get a little bit more golden. Because who doesn't love? I like them to be a little bit more golden. So I fell way behind on chat. I am very sorry. How do we know you really eat the food you make? Oh yeah, I eat lots of the foods that I make. It takes you 8 hours to make spaghetti and you only eat one small bowl. See, that's why I make sure to always make enough of ingredients for things so I can eat them over a few days. It is a cherry lime toaster strudel, so it's cherry filling that I put in there, and then the lime glaze. I'm sorry to hear you had a rough work day. But yeah, I hope that it improves. Yeah, so I'm going to let those go for another couple of minutes and just kind of hang out with you guys. I was going to end the stream, but we have quite a lot of people in here just kind of hanging out and talking, so if you guys just want to do that, you're welcome to just kind of stay and chat with me for a few minutes while I let those finish up. I try to always have something going cooking related, but, you know, can't always do that. I was trying to time everything to finish at the same time, but toaster strudel's taken a couple extra minutes because I made them kind of bigger. Good, I'm glad the day's already improving. I mean, it is just work. Hopefully you're able to leave that behind and have a good rest of your evening. I know it's pretty late there already, but hope you're able to just kind of chill and relax and... Hang on, give me like 5 minutes. Now she wants to go outside and play because she's all fired up over getting things. New avatar's awesome. Yes, my new friend, Mr. Young Wavelord, drew that for me. Yesterday he had an epic subathon, and yeah, I was lucky enough to have him draw that for me, and I'm gonna use that like in everything. Yeah, Mr. Pickle. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're, and that's, I'm lucky enough to have a job currently that I really like, so it's easy for me to disconnect when I leave. I have had plenty of jobs where the shit that happens to me while I'm at work spills over. That is the best thing I've ever seen, the Kimbo Pickle. Hey, chill. Yeah? Yeah. Oh yeah, these are already looking better now. Had I made them a little bit smaller, they would have cooked faster, but I like the toaster strudels to have some thickness to them, much like the glaze that I made for them. Dude, Cuphead looks awesome. It's not something that I would be good at. Platformers are not something that I'm really great at. Oh, somebody spit in your face? I probably would have done a stupid response, but I'm glad that you hopefully held your composure. Jay, you don't even have feelings, don't lie. There's no feelings to even leave at home. Hey, why don't you come up here? Oh, okay, yeah, you're laying down now. Okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. Jay's feelings. Yeah, send Swags and I after him. We will, we'll make sure that that doesn't happen again, or if it does, we'll take care of it. Yeah, his feelings for his PC in his bedroom, not his wife. Yeah, I think that is going to be it though, because essentially everything's done. I'm just going to let this, I'll even show you where it's at now. You can see it's already starting to get more golden brown. Whoop. Nice and golden brown on the top. So I'm just gonna let those go for another minute or two probably. But, whoop. Miss Kimbo is scratching at the door for me to take her out. and I will do that because she should go out when she wants to go outside. She wants to go for a walk. But yeah, they kind of slid forward, huh? But thank you all for hanging out. This was a very fun stream. I hope everyone has a good rest of your night and an awesome week. I will let you know if I'm able to make it on before next Sunday, but you can expect me to be hanging out next Sunday as well. Let's see, since we've got a good amount of people in here, let's find somebody to raid. Let's actually raid my friend. Well, here, let's see everybody who's on first. But I think I know who I want to raid. Oh, don't even worry about it. I'm glad that you guys got to come in and hang out for a little bit. Let's do... Yeah, let's raid my friend Cuddles Play. He was kind enough to come and raid me one day, and I had never met him before, and he is a very friendly man who plays games not so well, much like myself, but has a really good time doing it. And he's just got a very fun chat that I've been able to hang out with a couple of times. The toaster strudels were actually made for him. He subbed to me last week, and I asked him if he wanted anything, and he suggested those, but he's actually streaming. So let's go over there and do our good ODB fridge raid. But yeah, thanks everybody. Had a lot of fun. I'm gonna eat some of this food, and yeah, thanks for the awesome stream. Love y'all.
Thank you so much, Biscotti.